Well, thank you very much, Kelly. I'll have to tell you one thing. I don't know how to make WD-40. Uh, but it's a very interesting story, and very few people in San Diego actually know the history of how it came to be. But in case you're wondering, it is the 40th Water Displacement Experiment. And the person who knows about it, this is Reeve Gould. It was his father-in-law, whose name is Norm Lawson, who was the one who was at the Natural History Museum president and also a chemist. And he succeeded. He did make the experiments in his garage in a house in Mission Hills. And he, at the same time, introduced the Foucault pendulum in the Natural History Museum. So if you're a fan of that, it's pretty interesting. Also a seismograph. But poor Norm Lawson is not only not recognized, as my friend Ann Hill said, it was like the drummer that left the Beatles. He never really got any credit, and his name is not even right. But he took it down to the tuna fleet and decided, because he sort of wanted to sell it. And he tried to convince the tuna fishermen that this was really good in preventing rust and corrosion. And they took it and they did some little experiments with it and said, yeah, this is really good. And so they said, okay, would you want to sell it? And he said, sure, here's my formula. Gosh, they said, how much do you want? He says, okay, how about $500? And so poor Norm Lawson now didn't get the royalties and didn't get the advantage, but kind of those tuna fishermen did. And one of the people who has father was one of the fishermen is Lawrence Irving, that you might have heard lately as the judge who mediated the Filner crisis. And so we have to thank the Irving family for sticking around in San Diego and producing a really good lawyer, sent him to law school. And so now you see the brand. And this is the one thing that makes WD-40, really different. They never changed it. And it went with the Atlas missiles. And so it was the first San Diego product in space, you might say, except for the missile itself. But WD-40, and I'm holding the can here, I think if you needed to find out more, you just go to your garage and spray a little around. But they moved right down from Kearney Villa to Alvarado Road. It was always a very local company. It's all made here, except that within a very short time, as you can see, they expanded into South America, into Latin America, but also they can take credit for, they say, they saved Texas after Hurricane Cindy, and all of these products of WD-40, all the cans went to prevent rust and corrosion for all of the people there. So we started expanding worldwide and nationally. Also, Mr. Irving, who was Larry Irving's father, won the first Tri-San Diego County First Award. So this is something that hardly anybody would even know about WD-40 in 1966. So each time you take a can, you'll know. Well, then a little did he know John Garry, who came from Minnesota, accidentally was deployed into Korea, but came here on leave and married Marion Irving. So this is quite a coup for John Garry, who became the CEO of WD-40, and Marion Barry is also. Well, then John Barry said, why is it called rocket chemical? We don't make any rockets. And he says, why don't we just call it WD-40? That seems like it'd be more sensible. So with no more rockets, except the Atlas missile, you might say, WD-40 has kept its name, never changed. And so Marion went off with John to London and took a cab one day because it said WD-40, but found out that Londoners, who they're really stuffy, they did not like ads. And so they yelled at her and said, we're not, advertising, so crass American stuff on our cars. Well, anyway, people didn't care. They tried to figure out what's in it. Anyway, somebody said, oh no, it's fish oil. No, it's Vaseline. Baby oil? No, it's the goop inside the lava lamps. No, it's the product of the red-banded stink bug. And so you just step on a lot of them and you'll get it. And so here you can see really all of the countries that it expanded into: Australia, Canada, you can see China, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Malaysia, Mexico, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, United Kingdom, many more that, you just couldn't even imagine how many. And then you think, God, what can you do with it besides, stop rust? You can remove road tar, stop the squeaks electric fan, lubricate your prosthetic leg. My favorite is removing the traces of duct tape or lipstick. Now, if you've had a little affair there, you can get rid of it. But here's some more uses. It keeps flies off cows, keeps pigeons off the balcony, relieves arthritis pain. You can spray it on ant bites, cleans and lubricates guitar strings. See, Taylor guitarists could use it. And it protects the Statue of Liberty from the elements. So it's everywhere. And here is its modest headquarters right off Morena Boulevard. And it still is where the corporate headquarters are. And we're fortunate that they never really moved out. They didn't move to Los Angeles, something awful like that. And have kept right here. And now the present CEO, Garry Ridge, who actually has been the CEO since 1997. He's actually a lecturer at my university and is where I got to know him and tell him actually about the history of WD-40 and how poor, Norm Lawson, never made it. So, as I say, if you really want to know the formula, it's buried at Ocean Beach in a Coke bottle, along with the original recipe for Coca Cola, which is part of the product. So, and then one other thing I thought you might know, they also make 3-in-1 oil. Thank you very much.